Welcome guys. It's 8 from my side. We should probably start in a while. First I want to introduce you guys about what is this, what we're having today, and so what is X-Pert. Okay, so a little bit of background. We are XMUM Tech Club. We are basically tech community in Siam Museum, Malaysia. I'm the lead for XMUM Tech Club. I'm Kim. You can just call me Kim. And what we do is basically we build tech community here, empower people, let students to learn some stuff that not in classes, because we found out that knowledge in classes are quite limited. It doesn't stimulate our excitement anymore. Yeah, we want to learn something interesting outside of classes and learn from people. Yeah, so we're having this series we call X-Pert series. X-Pert series basically we invite people from speakers from different industries to share about their experience and knowledge to our university students. This is the main aim for our X-Pert series. Probably we can go next. Yeah. So today we have Esther here. So she is a product designer who works on product that help users simplify work process at Faith, and she takes photos and write occasionally. Yeah. So let's welcome Esther.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Kim, for the introduction. And I'm glad to be here tonight. So hopefully I'll be able to share something with you guys and that you will be able to learn something tonight, this evening. Yep.
Yeah, sure. Probably do you want to share about a little bit about background and also what product designer did to our friends here? Yeah.
Actually, it's all in my slide. So if I tell you now, then there's no surprise anymore. I have no content anymore if I tell you now. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So basically, this is a topic that is quite demanding from people. Every time we have some talk regarding about design, design stuff is always quite. We always get quite some support from our community here. And today we actually probably most of you guys can actually learn something new about product designer. Usually we learn about product manager or designer. What is product designer? And also usually in classes and stuff, I would say, at least I'm a student now. Yeah, we didn't learn anything about product design. Yeah, these two usually didn't put together in classes. They didn't introduce you to this occupation. And I actually explore this in from a few people, I think. Yeah, and also I think one of the audience here, I think what's the name? Yeah, and also I actually get to see probably you have some colleagues here with us together as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I get to know some names. Yeah, I think I know who is. I think I know Rachel. I think she's the one who Malaysian who
Malaysians who make.
Malaysian who make. Yeah.
Yep.
I think I get to see her.
She designed
Twitter.
it, coded it herself. She's my teammate, by the way, at Faith. And we actually have a couple of power people here in the midst. We have our head of product here as well. Yeah, and my ex-boss.
Sure. Yeah. So really thanks them for actually joining today. Yeah, Esther, do you want to start directly? And
sure.
Yeah, sure. And I'll leave the stage to you.
Thank you, Esther. Kim. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I hope you guys can see my screen, my shared screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Cool. Awesome. So thank you again for having me today. So this evening, I was actually invited. I was approached by Jia Hong before that. Rachel previously, and then Jia Hong talked to me about it and asked if I want to share here tonight or this evening. So I thought I would just give an introductory idea or a sneak peek into what is product design here. So as Kim mentioned just now, probably this is something new. This is not something that this is not an occupation or a career that is very well known. I think it's very niche. And today, yes, I'm going to tell you a little bit about product design and what it's all about and what do I do as a product designer on a daily basis. So yep, let's just jump straight into it. So This is sort of an agenda or what I will be presenting throughout this presentation and slides. So first of all, I'm going to have an introduction, a brief introduction about what product design is, and then we'll take a little bit of a look into my daily life as a product designer at Faith and how I actually got there, because I wasn't born a product designer, right? And then if you're interested, here's how to start. And last but not least, I will be answering some of your questions. So if you have any questions, leave it in the chat and we can have a talk about it at the end of the session. So yeah, first of all, let's talk about product design. Probably a lot of people don't really know what product design is. And I think at first, I'm not really sure what product design is. So a probably more familiar term would be UI UX. Probably you've heard of it. This is more of a, something that people would say, a UI UX designer, UI UX design. So what UI UX is actually user interface and user experience, right? So even the Zoom product or the Zoom that you're using right now, there's a user interface and somebody designed it for you in order for you to use for video conferencing, right? So this is what a user interface and user experience design is all about. But UI UX is only one part of product design. So product design actually encompasses UI UX, business, and also technology. So whereby, I can easily tell you this product design is UI UX, business, and technology, but what does that actually mean? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it in more detail. So before this, I didn't know what product design was, right? So my expectation would be that the daily task would be to check calendar, set priorities for the day, more design, probably a little bit of user testing, meetings and syncing with team, and more designs, review designs and design again. So because we are designers, right? If we don't do design, what do we do? Those were my expectations. And then, in reality, is actually check calendar, panic because my schedule is so full. And then, I have a sync up with my PD team and then set priorities for the day, check work emails, messages, design a little bit, and collaborate with the developers in our team, sync with stakeholders. Probably sometimes, occasionally, we run workshops, or so we call sprints, and user testing, definitely. So we do design pitch as well. Who knew? I didn't know I have to, sell my design to the stakeholders, but yes, we need to. And also feedback sessions. So that's very different from what I was expecting the job to be like, right? And in terms of those three things that I previously mentioned, UI, UX, business, and technology. So how does that fit into the everyday life of a product designer? So if you can see here, UI, UX, so design, obviously design work, and then there is user testing and feedback sessions. So these things are, lumped under the category of UI, UX. And then next up, we have syncing with stakeholders. By stakeholders, I mean, it could be a head of product, or it could be a product manager, an engineer, or a CEO probably. Like you need to talk to stakeholders in your my daily job, right? And then running workshops. So we run workshops at Faith, or we call them sprints, because we have a problem that we want to solve, but we don't know where to start. So we run something called sprint. And then we have people across the team. So we could probably have, engineers in the room. We can have operations team in the room, product managers, all sitting together, all trying to work together and figure out how to solve a problem. So that in general, in the gist of it, is called sprints. And then we also have design pitch where, you sell your idea and try to convince the stakeholder that this feature is something worthwhile investing in. And of course, you also have technology, which is collaborating with developers. Technically, I don't really need to know how to code. I don't code, by the way. But it is good to be able to understand what engineers are saying when they say, let's look at it in staging. Like, what does staging mean? Staging is a staging environment, or like a fake environment before it goes live out to users out there, right? So you want to curate it first. You want to QA, which is you want to go through it first, check and make sure everything is all right at the staging environment before it goes to production. So you don't have to know coding, but it's good to know a little bit in order to know their language and also collaborate with them better. So that's the technology side of it. So these words, these are all words. Let me show you a little bit of a visual representation of my daily life. So back then, pre-COVID, these are all pre-COVID, right? So if we were to do something like a feature or a product, then we have to validate our ideas, like this design. Sorry, we can't just make assumptions. We can't say, oh, I like pink, that's why I'm gonna put pink in Faith, pink everything, right? It doesn't work that way. So we have to validate our design decisions with our users. So if it were a merchant, if I'm designing something for merchants' use, then I will go out to the stores, to shops, to talk to merchants. If I were to, create or design something, a feature for users, for consumers, then I would, probably go outside, do guerrilla testing, like just stop someone by the streets and talk to them, test out my design. They probably think you're crazy, but that's part of the job, So next up, we have sprints and workshops, like I mentioned before. So these are some of the stakeholders. We have product designers, we have product managers, we have developers inside one room, and we use a lot of sticky notes. And if the whiteboard is not enough, just stick on yourself, like my colleague there. Right. So, and then we have stakeholder alignment. So you have to talk to, people like the developers again. And, if you know Fave's CEO there, he is Joel Neo in the picture. So that was me presenting the user flow with our CEO in our room. So yeah, that's part of the job as well, stakeholder management and alignment. And last but not least, there's actual design work. So I do design in my job as well, albeit, not as much as I expected it to be. So these are all pre-COVID situation, right? Right now, we're working from home. And what does that look like? So we still have sprints and workshops, but it's all done virtually via Google Meet or Zoom calls. And we have sometimes cross-company sharing where we talk to people from other companies, try to learn from them, and we share each other's best practices, right? And then we have design huddles as well. So what does that mean is that at Faith, there's not just product designers, there's also creative designers, marketing, they create marketing materials, marketing designs. We also have content designers as well. So this design huddle brings all the designers in the company together to help each other out if we have any issues. Obviously, we have to eat, so we have virtual lunches, and then occasionally we have happy hours with developers, product managers, and etc. And occasionally we have a cat dance party as well. So yeah, that's very, very fun. And those are the things that we do at Fave, right, in my daily job. So let me show you also some of the tools that I use on a daily basis. So these are some of it. You might be familiar with some of them, most of them, all of them, right? The first one, obviously, Google Meet. It's for meetings and conference calls. Slack is for messages across teams. And then we also have Notion. Notion is something that we use to document all our black and whites or all of our product requirement documents. And Spotify is just for my own sanity. I need music in order to work. And last but not least, definitely not least, Figma, where we used to design and also prototype. Speaking of Figma, actually, let me show you something. It's quite cool. It's something that Figma came out recently. It's called FigJam. And let me show you just how live collaboration, what does that look like? So we have a X Tech Jam here. So welcome everybody to X Tech Jam session. Yep, I hope my two friends are here. Hi, Archie. Where's Rachel? I see Rachel here. Hi, Rachel. So, right, hello. Okay, so here we have all our names here, right? And you can see their cursors moving around. This is actually live. And they can also annotate, they can also put, stuff like, oh, love here. I can stamp my heart here. And then I can also do something like, oh, I love this so much, you do this. So it's quite interactive and quite fun, right? But what does that do? So for example, for this section, Rachel and Archie, let's try to draw out what's your last meal. What did you eat just now for dinner? Let me draw something. Creative people, look at them go. Wow, Rachel, I have no idea what you're drawing. That looks like a wrap or a burrito, but let me guess. Anybody have any guesses of what that actually is? What Rachel has drawn here? I can't see the chat.
Probably noodle.
Noodles?
Yeah, I guess it's noodle.
Noodles. Is it noodles, Rachel? Can you type?
Prawn noodle. Okay, interesting.
It's seafood porridge. Oh, okay. I couldn't have guessed it from this. And Archie, I'm guessing this is your favorite Americano coffee. Yeah. Yep. It's 2 p.m. here, yeah. So Archie is currently in Germany right now. He's joining us in Germany. Yeah, cool, awesome. So that's the drawing function, right? So what if we want to do design reviews? So here I have some design screens that I probably want their feedback on. Like, hey, Rachel and Archie, what do you think about these designs? Can you give some critique to them? Like, so that I know how to, proceed with the next steps. So if I were to type something, or like stamp it out. Hey, I love this actually. Oops. Of course I love this. I designed this. Of course I have to love it, right? I love this. Big heart. Oh, give it more line height to the text. They're not happy, you guys. They're not happy about it at all. What works? Oh, I like the hierarchy of the top section. What could be better? Can you try different colors? Make the logo bigger? Make the logo bigger. Okay, that's everybody's request. Make the logo bigger. Is the base optional or required? Okay, cool. So you get the gist of it, right? So for design reviews, we can have it here where it's collaborative and everybody can actually, type in their comments and opinions. And last but not least, hey, what do you think of the session so far? You can use a sticky note here. I hope it's going well. Thank you very much. Thank you guys. Thanks Archie and Rachel for helping me with this demo. So this is how we do collaborative work at home when we're working from home. Going back to the slides. So I didn't start off being a product designer. I didn't choose this career per se in the beginning. So yeah, how did I actually become a product designer? Right? This girl here, 10 years ago, I was sitting there at the curbside, not knowing what to do in my life. How did I actually become a product designer? So I started off as an engineering student, believe it or not. So before this, I was studying engineering, and then I switched my uni major from engineering to graphic design. Is quite a major change. And then there's also, I dabbled into event management after I graduated. And then I also did some branding, advertising. Oh my God, sorry. Advertising. And last but not least, UI UX before I went into product design today. Right. So how did I actually get there? I think in the gist of everything, it boils down to 3 things that I would like to highlight here, which is to seize the opportunity. You define your own path, right? So if I didn't make the choice to switch from engineering to graphic design, it wouldn't have led me here, right? So seizing the opportunity, do things that you're afraid to do, just go for it, right? Because this is your life and you don't want to regret further down the line. And secondly is invest in yourself. And it's not just money, right? It's also investing time and effort because you need to learn the skills that you lack, right? You have to invest a lot of time to, go to websites to learn, sign up for a course, go to the school, go to YouTube even to learn about, tutorials and things like that. Invest in yourself. And last but not least, focus on completion instead of perfection. I think with a lot of creatives out there, me, myself included, that we focus a lot about perfection. Like if it's not perfect, we don't want to show it to the world. But it's not about perfection. Nothing is perfect. So more importantly, focus on being better instead of perfect, right? Publish your work always. Like put it out there, let people critique, let people give you feedback. That's the only way to become better. So let me just show an example of what I mean by completion and not perfection, right? So this is a bit embarrassing. This is my actual resumes. Can you guess, can you guys guess which of these resumes did I manage to complete and send it off to a potential employer? A, B, or C? C? C, B, okay, cool. B, C. So it's a mixture of B and C. Actually, this is a trick question because I actually sent all three out to employers. God knows why they hire me, because when I look at this, I think they're so ugly. But I will let you guys guess which one is actually landed me a job at Faith, but I'm not going to tell you guys. So what I want to say here is, don't be afraid, just send it out. These resumes, even though they're not, you know, what I would be proud of today, but that just shows me improvement, right? I know that I did that sucky design before this, but right now I would totally do it another way, right? And we're all growing every day, and that's nothing to be ashamed about. So focus on being better instead of being perfect. So after all this, if you're interested in becoming a product designer, so you might be asking this question: how do I start? I don't even have a portfolio, probably, or even, you know, I'm not even studying design. So even if I am interested, how do I switch career? Don't worry. If you don't have a portfolio, just build one, right? How easy is that? And let me just give you some pointers for you to start. So 3 things. Even if my presentation, you didn't take away any of this, I hope that you remember these 3 things. So step 1, find a problem in the world, and there are plenty of problems in this world that we live in, or a problem in the product that you use in a daily basis, right? And then step 2, think about how you would solve it, because everybody solves problems differently, right? Think about how you would want to solve that particular problem in the world or in the product. And step 3, provide value with your solution. And if possible, measure impact. What do I mean by measure impact is that after you created your piece of work, right, you can ask your opinion, ask opinions from your friends, or, you know, ask for feedback from your parents. Like, hey, what do you think of this? Do you think this solves my problem? Do you think this solves the problem? Yeah, measure the impact that you would potentially give to other people. And with this, right, it can apply to, you know, you building a portfolio. So find a problem, design the solution, and then, you know, measure the impact that that design has brought. And then slowly by slowly, you will have built enough case studies for your portfolio. All right, let me give you an example. So we use YouTube a lot to learn about stuff, right? Here's my teammate, fellow YouTuber, Rachel Howe's YouTube channel. And so YouTube is a platform where a lot of people use for learning stuff. You know, it might be a recipe, or it might be how to plant cactuses. I don't know. So how might we actually improve YouTube to facilitate learning? That could be one of the problems that you want to solve, right? Let me give you another example. This is Facebook. You know, some of us like to use it, some of us don't use it. Like me, I don't use it anymore. But Facebook is very prevalent in terms of, you know, spreading fake news, and circulating all those, whether it be true news, like real news, or fake news. But so how might we detect and prevent circulation of fake news on Facebook? That could be one problem that you want to solve too, right? Let me give you another example, the third example, right? Because this is an app that we all have on our phones these days, except maybe Archie because he moved to Germany. So we use this to check into places and, you know, track our vaccination and things like that. But how might we make vaccination processes more efficient in Malaysia? Because right now there's still a lot of paperwork when you go to the vaccination center. You still have to sign your consent form in paper. So how might we use this app to make vaccination processes more efficient? That could be another problem for you to solve, right? So with that, if you need more help when it comes to PD, right, these are some of the resources that I suggest you try to read up or use. So first one is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. This is a great book, and then let you discover maybe sometimes even meaning of life, like why am I alive, you know? This is a great book. And then secondly is sprint. So this book teaches you how to run workshops, how to run design workshops, how to run sprints to solve problems, basically. It's by Jake Knapp and etc. And then we have I think one of my favorite reads of all, because it's easy, it's short, it's simple, yet it is so impactful. These trilogy, I would say, from Austin Kleon starts with Steal Like an Artist, Show Your Work, and Keep Going. These 3 books. And if you're more of a video, audio kind of person, these are the YouTube channels that probably would help you. In terms of product design, Femke.design, she's actually working at Uber right now. So she teaches a lot about product design, which I think is useful. And then for workshops, you can go to AJ and Smart. They talk about how to run workshops, how to facilitate problem solving. It's very useful. And last but not least, I think the future is not particularly specifically for product design, but in general, creative and how you can use incorporate business inside. Like if you were to explore wanting to be a freelancer, creative freelancer in the future, the pun not intended, then you can definitely subscribe to The Future, and it's very helpful as well. So yeah, that concludes my presentation today. And if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them. And let's connect on LinkedIn. You can, scan the QR code to connect with me on LinkedIn. Yep. Thank you very much.
Yeah, really thanks. Really thanks, really thanks, Esther, for the session just now. It's a very interesting sharing. People get to see. Also, you especially show people that how you guys go through a virtual sprint and also through Fig Jam. I think Fig Jam. Yeah, that's a pretty cool stuff. Previously, I remember that previously, if you want to do like Fig Jam stuff, you need to use a Figma board. You need to install like the sticky notes plugin and stuff. Yeah, I did try it before. Yeah, and yeah, that's really interesting. And also, I definitely feel like a lot of students here will also get benefit from get to know what is product design. Yeah. So let's drop the question here. Ajay actually asked, what's your hardest part in the day for product design for you?
What's the hardest part?
What's the hardest part
in the day? I think that's also the same question as Rachel, right? What's the biggest challenge at my day-to-day work? I think, guys, you are designers. Stop hogging the question and answer place. Allow other people to ask questions, right? So what is the hardest part for me? It would be to align with stakeholders, because sometimes the communication can be everywhere. Like it can come from Telegram, it can come from Slack, it can come from emails, and people just give different feedbacks, and you kind of get lost in the midst of it. And I think that's a biggest challenge, is to filter all that and keep everybody aligned, because sometimes the product manager might say, hey, what does this feature look like this? And the engineer say, no, I cannot do, too hard already, I cannot do. And then the designer has to advocate for the user and say, no, it has to be this way, or else, the user wouldn't find it useful, for example. So I think the biggest challenge is to stand your ground and to align with other people why we need that design particularly to be that way. That would be my answer.
Yeah, and also another question from my side, right? I actually quite curious. So does it mean that I want to ask that I split into 2 parts. Does it, like in FIF, since you guys already have product designer, do you guys still need UI UX designer? And also, do you think that once a company have product designer, whether they needed UI UX designer or other stuff anymore?
And I think very valid question, Kim. But it really depends on the company, I believe, because at FAIF, it's quite a lean team, right? And because of that, and we wear a lot of different hats at once. So for product design, it's literally an end-to-end process, right? You start with discovery, and then you also do user research, you do user testing, and after that, you also do post-launch stuff as well. So there's a lot of things to do. And if you ask me, if we have the capacity to hire a UI UX designer, definitely it would help a lot in terms of managing the workload and things like that. I think it's necessary. Yeah. The short answer is I think it's necessary. But it also depends on the dynamics of the team as well as the company. Yep.
Yeah, sure. Understand. So it really depends on whether how are the company decisions and also the team. Yeah,
Yep.
that's interesting insight. Yeah. And also another question from my side again. Yeah, after since I'm the MC, I can ask the question I want.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think, right, is the fundamentally difference between like a normal product designer with like UI UX designer?
What's the fundamental difference?
Yeah, probably the mindset or like how you for the day or the main goal or something like that. Yeah. Do you
I
have any?
think it's more of the different perspective that the role brings into the company. I think UI UX designers, in my opinion, right, it's more of an executional role. They will look at they will work on flows, things like flows and stuff like that, and user interface, right? Designing, making sure that it's pixel perfect. However, a product designer has to think about, how that feature impacts business. Like let's say Instagram. I believe everybody knows Instagram. Like everybody uses Instagram. Instagram, probably you don't remember, like there was once a time when there wasn't Instagram stories. There wasn't such thing, right? When they push it out, Instagram stories, something that you can highlight for 24 hours, something that you can show for 24 hours. They have to run through testing. It has to, like, a product designer will have to think about, where to position this. Why do I position it that way on top of the timeline, on top of the feed, for example? And what about the algorithm? Who do I show first? Is it the most recent first, or the people that you care about most that shows first, right? And also the mechanism of it, right? How can recently I find it very annoying is that they have started in Instagram in particular, they have started to advertise in IGTV as well. Like before this, you watch IGTV, there's nothing that pops up. Right now, because of revenue, right, they want to fight TikTok probably. They have started to advertise on their IGTV as well. So those are the things, like, because as a business, you have to generate revenue, right? Even though as a user, I find it annoying. But I think probably a product designer in Instagram would be thinking, we have to generate revenue for that. Like, what kind of position should I put it in a way that it would not disrupt the user flow, but at the same time, it would still show the ads. So these are the different things that a product designer has to think before. It's not just, oh, does this look nice? Does this flow make sense? It's not just that. I think it's way beyond that in terms of, you have to incorporate the technology as well as the business end of things. Yeah. I think the mindset, yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah, sure. I think I get your point. Probably I can process it for myself. It's like basically like is it product designer are more emphasized on the product, given the product, the features, how the features gonna be like, how it gonna deal with the business side and technology side or something like that. And probably UI designer is more emphasized on the particular like flows, the UI or the experience stuff rather than the product itself.
Yep. And also one product is made of different features, right? Let's say Fave. You have Fave Pay, you have discovering Fave deals. So how do the two live together in one product? So how do they interact with each other? That's also very important to consider.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think that answered my question. And also, right, another question here. This one is quite interesting. I really want to ask this also at the time. Do I need to be a very good UI design skills to be a product designer?
I think Yuzi has the same question. He or she said, do I need to be a good UI design skills to be product designer?
Yeah. I actually follow this question.
Okay, cool. So I think it's a good to have. It's definitely a good to have. I think for me, I think in my opinion that I am a better UX crafter rather than in terms of UI, because UI is like a lot of details and making it pixel perfect, making it look great, right? I think I'm slightly weaker on that end. However, you have to have a very good sense, or you have to be willing to improve. That's one thing. And it's definitely a good to have, because it would help. You know, we are human beings, like beautiful things, right? Let's put it that way. If something that is not beautiful and it works, you might be forced to use it. You're like, okay, I know I don't have a choice. You know, I have to use it because even though it's ugly, but it would elevate the user experience if something is more pleasing to the eye. So I think it's a good to have.
Yeah, sure, understand. So it's a good to have, but what you say is probably is not like a compulsory, a very, very, very important stuff. Could I say that? So how about comparing UI design skills with product sense?
Oh, what do you mean by product sense?
Like like not pretty sure how to say it. It's like he's very understand the product very greatly. He can really understand the product. Know what the user want or something like that. Yeah, like
I
something
probably
like that. Yeah.
consider to become a product manager, right? Instead of a designer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah,
It really
that's
depends
right.
on the person. Yeah, it's all right.
Development. Okay. And also, another question from Chin Hong. He asked about how do you set priority for the day probably as a product designer.
Okay. Like I mentioned, right, I look at my calendar and start panicking. It's half a joke and half the truth. Well, yeah. So how do I set a priority? So basically, I think my team sometimes would have a check-in, right, to say that, hey, what are you guys' focus today? And how to set priority is like, what do I need to do today? Like then it becomes my top priority, right? It really depends. It depends on if this is a feature that we are trying to push out really urgently, then it would definitely be pushed up the priority list, right? And everything that it requires probably not so urgent, then it will be pushed down the priority list. I mean, it really depends on what the company is actually, at that point of time, what we want to push out or launch, so to say.
Okay. Is that so basically? Okay. And so another question from Wenjie here is that does Faith offer internship program or opportunities or something like that?
Actually, we do.
Yeah.
We do offer internship program. You can reach out to us and or you can message me on LinkedIn, or you can go to our website and go to careers and check out if we have any internship opportunities open for that. Yeah. So it is, sometimes creative team is hiring. Oh, thank you, Rachel. So sometimes creative is hiring. Sometimes our team might be hiring, who knows? Sometimes engineering team would be hiring. So it really depends. Yeah. But yes, we do offer.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, and you guys, right? You can just we will still be answering probably until before 9, so you guys can still put your questions there. So another one question did I actually ask, how do you deal with when you face burnout?
What does that mean? How do I deal with pressure, probably?
When
when I face burnout.
How do you deal when you face burnouts? Yeah.
I eat my heart out. Definitely not a healthy coping mechanism, by the way, guys. No. I think it is something that most of us struggle with, right? When you feel like you're overwhelmed by all the work and you feel like you just don't want to do it anymore. Like you just want to quit everything sometimes. And then I think my way of dealing with it is to work out. For some reason, after working out, it just gives a sense of calmness that is, I just realized recently that workouts really helps. And also thinking about vacation and travel, it helps. and meditation sometimes too. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that works for you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also lots of ways. I feel like really burnout is a pretty common issues, especially
Do you
like,
feel burnout as a student?
yeah, students. Yeah, usually when there are no exams, no assignments, and no stuff, okay lah. And not I wouldn't say it's burnout, like a little struggle and stuff. Yeah, like struggle is like, should I do this? Should I drop out? I'm joking. Should I drop
So what do you
out?
do
Yeah, what I
when you're
do.
stressed?
When I'm stressed, I watch dramas. I
Okay.
just take myself out for a while, and when I feel good, I'll be back lah. So it's basically like when I feel good, just don't think about it for at least for the moment, because I feel like when you continue like sticking at the mindset, you'll be more and more negative. You're thinking more negative stuff. I don't want to do this. Then you start to think, should I drop out or should I quit this job? And you think about I think I should quit because and should I quit? But I still have my parents here. I need to provide like something like that. Yeah. You will go more and more negative. This is my way. I won't say it's suitable for everyone. Yeah, you can search on the internet. There are a lot of ways to handle that. Yeah, and so as well, Chin Hong asked another question: how do you build your own portfolio?
How do I build my own portfolio? Good question, Chin Hong.
Probably what projects and stuff.
Yeah, how do I pick those projects? I think this goes to everybody else as well. Pick the ones that you're most proud of, that you think bring the most impact. Yeah, at least that's how I would do it, because what that means is that, you don't want to build something or you don't want to design something that nobody uses. So if it creates a big impact, that means that you did something well, and that means that deserves a spot on your portfolio. And that's how I build my own portfolio. And different people have different ways to think about it, but I think those 3 steps that I mentioned before, right? So to identify a problem, solve it, and measure the impact. I think, that's very useful in order to build portfolios or build your resumes and whatnot.
Yeah, and also I want to ask is about like for example, in your resumes, you build a product. Is it like basically a concept of product? You say that you build this concept, you probably a little bit of mock-ups and stuff, or you really make a real product, you try to publish it, or you try to and like share to people's and stuff, or you just like a concept of the products.
You mean what do I include? Like, is it a concept or real work in my portfolio?
Yeah.
I think for my portfolio, if I were to look for another job, then it would be real life products, because I think at this rate, I've been working as a product designer for not too long, 2 years. Because previously I was a graphic designer, switched career, right? And I think right now I have enough real world projects that I would be able to put it into my portfolio. However, if you don't really have those, it's either you can, do what I mentioned before, try to find an existing product and the issue with that and build a case study around it, or you can also work on some crazy projects. Like, I'm not sure if you guys know about Johnny Vino or not. He's somebody who experiments with interaction design a lot. So if you search him up, his interactions are not the normal ones, like not swipe, pinch, and stuff like that. It's really interesting. So I guess that's, putting himself out there, like publishing on Dribble, publishing on, those Behance and those platforms, gain him enough exposure for him to actually land a job, I think right now in Apple, if I'm not mistaken. So really just put yourself out there. Like, nobody out there is expecting you to fail. Nobody's looking like, oh, I'm looking, when is Kim gonna fail? Nobody's waiting for that, right? They have their own stuff to deal with also. So don't be afraid. Nobody's going to judge you except for yourself. I think we are our own worst critics, and if we can get over ourselves, then everything will be easier.
Yeah, I also really agree about that. Like there are a lot of programs in Twitter and stuff, like learning in public, building in public, working in public and stuff. They are like pretty nice works. Like, and also I think that you just not recommend a book about show your work.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a pretty legit book.
Yes.
Yeah. So you show your work. You also I can expose you to like more how to say unexpected opportunities. A lot of people actually benefit. Some people benefits from that. But I personally myself, I think that the first step to the first thing you need to overcome is that you need to get out of the mindset that what will people think for my work when I put it to public. For example, when I put my work on public, sometimes you will be wonder or you'll be worry about maybe people say, hey, why you share like this shitty work and something. Yeah, so don't really worry about that. Yeah. That's the concept of the book. Yeah, in the book.
Yeah, I think my friend once said that if you don't have haters, are you even doing something worthwhile? You will meet some haters further down the road, but you can't please everybody. That's the thing.
Yeah. When you have more haters, usually you earn more money. Yeah, like like those artists.
probably scandal and controversy.
Yeah, controversy is you can actually earn more money. Yeah. So yeah, and also another question from here, right? Because like I think most of here are like students are from software engineering background, or we have another major here which is called digital media technology, which is basically they do 3D modeling and stuff. A lot of that stuff here. So you want to ask is right, how the design team in Faith hand off products design to developers? Probably how you guys interact and how you guys hand off and stuff.
I think Figma is a lifesaver in terms of this one, right? Hand-offs usually before this, not too sure if you guys are familiar with all the softwares. Like before this, we were using Sketch, and then we export to Zeppelin, and the developers will be getting all those components and designs specifics, the specs in Zeppelin. And it's not real time, right? So if I do some changes or improvements, and I have to export it again to Zeppelin for the developers. But right now, everything's live, right? Everything's on the web with Figma. So it's very, very easy to do that. You just finish your design, finalize everything, and then you just, share the link to the developers, and then the developers will take all the necessary information and design from Figma itself. And if they have any questions, so they will reach out to us via Slack or messaging or any other way that they can get hold of us and ask us, why is this design like that? Or why is this color this way? And yeah, those are the sort of the handover or handoff process, throughout in Faith.
Yeah, and also from my own knowledge as a software developer, so usually after they hand off, developers, and they'll take those components, probably they use like storybooks or something, storybooks, which is like a framework or something, making the components, looking one by one, how it looks like. And after that, they will code it to the platform itself. And also I want to ask something, right?
Yep.
This is a question I quite wonder, because I never worked with designers before and stuff. I want to ask that, because if you look at a lot of like meme stuff, right? Designer can't understand developers. Developers can't understand designers. They say, hey, what they don't know lah. This is like product sense. Then developers say, hey, you thought very easy to build something like that. Does this like happens in real life and stuff like?
Oh yes, oh yes. Yeah, I cannot count how many times my fellow beloved engineers told me cannot do this. Cannot do this. Like I wonder if I wonder if I can say, hey, I cannot design this. I'm not sure how that would work, but yeah, it happens in real life definitely. But I think the key here is that you have to make the engineers or developers your friend. That's one thing. Secondly, you have to make them advocate for your design. They have to be advocates to help you promote the design. You have to involve them in the process. So that's why you talk to them like, why is this designed this way? If they understand the reasoning behind it, like you can share with them, like I did user testing with this. User validated this design that it actually works, this design. So then they would be, oh, okay. Then they would understand more and they would put in more effort in order to find some way of making it work. Yeah, so it does happen, but I think it boils down to common understanding. You also, designers, we don't want to treat engineers as coding monkeys, right? Like, hey, I designed this, you just code it for me, you know? They are human beings too. So if you bring them in the process with you, make them understand why you designed that thing that way, they are more likely to help you because, you know, we're human beings. Like if we are decent human beings, we would want to help each other. So yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. But basically, what you say is like you need to get them to understand your perspective and why you are doing this. Then basically you guys have the same have the same goal and the same aim. Then yeah, probably the process can get smoother and stuff. Yeah. And so another tricky question here: do I able to get off work on time if I want to be a product designer in future?
Question.
Does it depends on company culture and stuff? Yeah,
I think question to Youzi, right, is that what's your idea of what's your objective in asking that question? What is it that you're striving for? Are you striving for work-life balance?
Yeah, probably
I'm assuming that, right? That's probably why you asked that. It depends on the culture, right? I agree, Kim. It depends on the culture. And it also depends on yourself. Sometimes you just want to make things good and you can't help but you want to put extra effort or extra time inside. But it's not a compulsory thing. Like you don't see it in your contract when you sign with your employer that says, you know, OT is compulsory. You don't see that, right? It depends on you and it depends on your team. It depends on a lot of things. And many people say, you know, have your own business or, you know, do freelance, then you will probably have a better work-life balance. I don't think that's true, because if you work on your own business or you work on your own, you know, freelance projects, you probably never get off of work on time because all you do is your work, right? But if you're happy doing it, then you enjoy the process, then yeah, why not? Well, if you really like designing and making things work, then does it matter if that's something that you like to do?
Yeah. I think the passion is a very important thing to let you have the motivation and to work and stuff. Yeah.
I think passion is overrated, but I would say interest, probably.
Interest. Yeah. But yeah, there's an interesting fact here. Yeah, and also one more question here. He wants, what is your greatest achievement through the 2-year product design journey?
My greatest achievement. Very good question. I would say the people I meet along the way. Okay, this probably sounds like BS, right? That I say this, but it truly is. Like the people that I meet at Fave, the people that I met through Fave even, right, is probably the best thing that I would never have expected. You know, I signed up for a job at Fave, but I currently am enjoying the process of working with people, even though sometimes, you know, the product manager might come up with a nonsense product idea, but rarely the case. Just saying example, right? For example, like, but I truly work with some of the most hardworking is one thing, smart is one thing, and they're so dedicated and they're resourceful as well. So it's just, I think that's the biggest takeaway, probably not the biggest accomplishment, right? Sorry, Momo, I in terms of your question, it's a tough one. Accomplishment.
Probably any features that you actually from your team ideas that actually went to the product itself that you feel like very proud of.
Right now, there is one thing that we haven't launched yet, so I cannot talk about. But there is a previous one that initially, when I worked on it, I was like, okay, this is another product. It's just another day at work. But the results was astounding, right? It was a redesign of the internal tools. And it's very sad sometimes because internal tools, it's used by internal people and we don't give it enough love because it's like, the sales team is using this tool, like, don't need to make it so pretty lah. It's okay, it works, it's okay, you know? But that last year, we decided that, okay, we want to put in more love for the internal tools to make it better for our internal users, for our sales team. And the results was astounding. I think it definitely exceeded our expectations. So we call it like a submission rate, right? Like submit from the time used for a submission is cut by half, like 50%, more than 50%, reduced by more than 50% because of the redesign. And I think that would be right now, for now, my greatest accomplishment so far. Yeah, and that's how you know that, you know, your product made a difference in other people's life, or at least at their work life.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, if you, I feel like, I really get the point that when you build a product and you're involved in a product and you see people actually benefit from it, the result is pretty good. The feelings is like better than everything, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works and people enjoy using it. That's the greatest thing.
Yeah. During the even like during the process, it is very shit. Like you struggle a lot, you think a lot, and sometimes you fail a lot. But at the end, when it goes well, it's worth it. Yeah, that is the feeling of that.
There might be a lot of complaints along the way. Sorry to cut you off, but there might be a lot of complaints along the way. But in the end, on hindsight, you're just like, okay, yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and so really get some insights from you today, especially about product design, work, and
I hope it helps.
A lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff we mentioned. Yeah, and it's almost 9, so we'll cut off our Q&A for now. And and so really thanks Esther here to actually joining us today, and really thank her for actually sharing about what is product design. It is a very, very rare occasion for people to actually share about product design, especially if you are a uni student. It's like almost you can't know about product design if you just study the materials in classes.
In Malaysia at least. Yeah.
In Malaysia at least, they didn't give enough love for product design.
It's okay. Come to my LinkedIn, DM me. It's okay. If you have any questions.
It didn't even give enough love for UI UX designer.
True.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really crucial thing. For myself, I think my design skill is underdeveloped. my like UI design skill, I would say UI design skill is underdeveloped. But I like product design. It's like product design is like another way of thinking on the products. It's not on the interface only. For my own understanding of what is product design. Yeah. And also, I feel like actually a lot of stuff, if you work in your university, right, actually involve product design. If you work on an assignment, you want you to make a solution or app, it involve product design. You need to design the product, the flow, how the user will use it, what is the main aim and stuff. And a lot of stuff in your life can actually apply on product design thinking and stuff. Yeah. So really thanks Rachel Pula. Rachel is the
Rachel,
one.
yeah. Actually, it's fine. We
Esther.
get mistaken a lot at work as well. Sometimes
because
people will be talking to me and say, "Hey, Rachel, this." I'm like, I'm not Rachel.
because I am looking at the names. Yeah, because I'm
Okay.
looking at the day, I'm reading all the names there. Sorry about that. Yeah, and also I want to thanks you guys for here for joining, and also I really thanks all
Thank
your
you so much.
colleagues who are joining here today.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
yeah, and we wish that you guys can learn about product design, and probably Esther can actually motivate you to be a product designer in future. If you in future you be a product designer because of this talk, remember probably you want
Let
you
me
can
know,
tag
please.
her.
Please.
You can let her know. Yeah, tag her. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Okay.
much for
So
joining.
thank you so much, everyone, and thank you
Yep.
for joining today. If you want to follow us, to know more about our future event stuff, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. XMUM Tech Club. All is XMUM Tech Club. Yeah. So we search XMUM Tech Club, and you actually get to find us. We have more exciting stuff coming in future. Probably we have a few weeks break. We're having finals exam in future
Good
in
luck.
a while. Yeah, sure. Really, that depends on luck now. For me, yeah. So yeah, thank you all for joining, and wish you guys have a good night. And
Thank you.
Esther, and your team.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thanks, guys.